This is Meltdown Live, presented by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag for double your initial deposit. You sign on to make a deposit, they double it with code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag.
Welcome in. We're live here on the Meltdown, broadcasting from the Culver studio. I am Tim Melton here with you on this Monday live, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. Thank you for being here with us. We hope to see you all week long. If you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so you know when we go live each and every time. As I have said, I'm Tim Melton here in studio with the one, the only Tyler Lionel Johns. Tyler, how you doing after what was a winter weather warning for 2025?
I'm good. I watched a lot of movies. I watched 5 movies over the weekend. I caught up on sleep. I got some work done. It was a very productive weekend for me.
You may be asking, what are those 5 movies? Well, Tyler's going to tell you about them in today's Meltdown Countdown coming up here later on in the show. Joining us as well, that would be the E to the G here in the Culver studio. EG, how are you on this Monday?
I'm wonderful. It doesn't really feel like a Monday.
It doesn't. Why doesn't it?
I don't know.
Feels like a Thursday.
Yeah, which isn't good for a
Oh,
week.
no, it feels like Monday long weekend
Oh,
to me.
no, I'm getting Thursday vibes.
I've been groggy today.
I have been groggy today, which is not a good way to start the show. I have been groggy today, low energy. I feel like I can't get my days in order because all the days are just completely mixed up over the past 3 weeks, with the holidays falling in the midweeks. And then we had our winter weather threat late last week, which kind of threw us all off kilter.
Mhm.
But we're very happy to be here with you. Don't take it the wrong way. We love having you here. I just feel a little out of it. I don't know what it is. I just feel like I can't get my bearings.
Yeah, I would agree. I think when we think about the last really month, each week has had some significant event. So what I mean by that is Christmas, New Year's, leading up to Christmas, winter weather warning. It hasn't let up.
It hasn't. There's always something around the
New
pipe.
Year's.
Yes, there's always something going on, and we've got a chance for more winter weather coming up next week, early next week, a week from today.
Yeah, I mean, we could be thrown back into a tizzy.
Hey, let me ask you a question, EG.
Okay, let me give you an answer.
Tim Melton.
Tim Melton.
What was your experience with Alaska? Like, you had an Alaskan trip, is that correct?
Yes, 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 yes. So I have family in Alaska. Again, not going to help my Russian spy allegations. I'm aware of this.
It is not. I watched video on YouTube this weekend of someone who went on an Alaskan cruise, and I found it to be majestic and interesting.
I would describe Alaska as both majestic and interesting. I've never done an Alaskan cruise. I've always stayed on the mainland, if you will. But I've been twice, once in the summer, once in the winter. Summer is beautiful. And if you go, typically the cruises are during the summer and it's stunning. It also stays light all day, which is really interesting. Winter, you think it's going to be a snowy wonderland, right? You're basically in the North Pole. False. We went and it was dubbed Brown Christmas, and it was actually colder in Atlanta than it was in Anchorage, Alaska. Is that not insane?
That doesn't seem right.
All of the snow melted.
No,
Yes. Yes.
that's not a winter wonderland for
It
Alaska.
was not, and it was unprecedented. I don't think it's happened since, but it was this weird warm Christmas that they had. Of course, we leave after 2 weeks and it's like perfect powder snow on the mountain. But
Mm.
anyways, so yeah, I do love Alaska.
I'm not the type of person that really wants to go on a cruise.
Hmm.
My family wants to go on a cruise. My wife, my daughter, they want to go cruising. I don't feel like cruise ships are built for giants,
No,
right?
because I struggle. Well, I say that I've been on one, and I remember it was tight.
I've never been on a cruise ship. I don't know the first thing about cruising, but we are starting to sort of explore those waters.
Literally.
Pun intended.
I mean, I think a cruise is a good option if you want a low maintenance vacay. You know who knows a lot about this?
Who?
Our friend
Ryan
Pavlik. He posted something today about it, I think. But I don't know, maybe he can just hook you up with a cruise.
Tyler likes Brian Pavlik, but did not like us yelling Brian
No.
Pavlik at the same time.
Oh, no, y'all are good. I'm just trying to pull all the pictures for my Meltdown Countdown.
Oh, nice.
You-
We'll
y'all
keep
are good.
chatting.
So have you been on a cruise, Tyler?
I have not. Like you, I'm not really a cruise guy. I would like to go to Alaska though, but I don't think in a cruise situation, cruises just don't interest me.
Wait, I have a story about a cruise. I don't know if I've shared it before.
Okay, well, now you have
Oh,
to
Yeah, yeah,
share
sure,
it.
yeah, yeah.
tell the story.
So, the only cruise the only cruise I've been on was a Duck Dynasty cruise.
So it was a pontoon boat.
No, it was a legit.
This episode's gonna be wacky. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you it's gonna be wacky. Let's get the
A
camera back on EG,
Duck
please. Don't
Dynasty.
protect her.
What does a Duck Dynasty cruise entail, EG?
So, so me and my brother. I'm sorry.
No, we'll wait.
Ah. So the deal was when you turn 16.
No, leave it on her. Do not take it off of her. Let her get through this. She's a broadcast professional.
Ooh, I don't know why this is tickling me. But the deal was when I turned 16, when the siblings did, our grandmas collectively would take us on a cruise. And me and my brother picked ooh,
The
Duck
mic is
Dynasty.
toast.
A Duck Dynasty cruise. And they were all on the cruise. And so we made our grandmas go on a Duck Dynasty themed cruise to Mexico. And like all the cast members were there. Whew.
Was it a good
It
time?
was so much fun, but like thinking back, and I know that's really not that funny, but like we paid to go on a Carnival cruise, which is like the Spirit airline of cruise ships, and go because like Willie Robertson and like the kids were all there. So
I want to get Brian Pavlik's in the chat.
Was Uncle Si on the cruise?
yes, yes,
Were you flipping out and taking a bunch of pictures?
yeah. I
I'm
have a
like,
picture of me and Sadie Robertson.
it's okay. You don't have to. Okay.
It's right here. It's actually on my Instagram. Um, yeah, so I mean, it was fun. Like John Luke was there, and at the time I had a really big crush on him. But that was like all the rage, and I was 13. I thought I was gonna marry John Luke. I didn't. He got married, has like 5 kids now. And my brother like loved Sadie Robertson, and so we actually combined the cruise trip, and we said, you know what, we're gonna make you guys pay for a Duck Dynasty cruise.
Well, did y'all get matching tattoos or anything? Or was it
No, I
any
wore
souvenirs?
yeah a monogrammed camouflage shirt. I can't make it up
No, that sounds right.
with orange monogram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian Pavlik is in the chat saying, greatest story ever. And we're not even to the predicate of the first sentence yet. So that was a great payoff there before the story even started.
Yeah.
We didn't know where that was going. But I'm
No,
glad it brought up good memories there. And then Hunter's in the chat saying, EG, take a sip of water.
I apologize for the giggles. I don't know where that just
It
hit,
happens.
hit me. Yeah, so they were a lovely family and went to Mexico. I've not been back to Mexico, probably won't venture back, but
Okay.
glad to say I went.
Well, that sounds like a fun time. And I don't know how many more Duck Dynasty cruises are going to be offered. So you maybe got a very limited sort of experience.
Yeah, I think
there.
they did it once and they
Yeah.
were done.
That makes sense. They said, we're not doing this again with these crazy
Yeah,
Georgia
they
people. in
probably
here."
can't do it again since they lost the show.
Well, there's that.
Yeah,
There's that
that's
too.
slight caveat.
Okay, let's get into some blazing hot headlines here on this Monday to get you started. Probably saw it there in the title, probably saw it there on the thumbnail. And yes, it is the latest news from the presidential inauguration taking place a week from today that Carrie Underwood will perform. Today, political reporter Matthew Foldy shared a picture on X of the program for the inauguration, revealing that the 41-year-old country singer will sing America the Beautiful on Monday, January 20th at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. And no shock here, the internet lost its mind over this. And
Yeah, I'm not following or tracking as to why it's a shock, I guess.
well, are you saying that because she's from the very red state of Oklahoma and there shouldn't be a shock that she would be connected to a Republican presidential?
No. Well, I thought that she'd previously performed with him, or am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't know that information. I do know that every 4 years or every time there's a change in
Yeah.
office, that this type of conversation pops up.
No matter who it is.
No matter who it is.
Yep.
This happened with Biden as well
Mhm.
4 years ago.
Who
I
was
remember
it?
Garth Brooks, I remember, was a big talking point
Yeah.
4 years ago of Garth Brooks agreeing to participate in the inauguration, and, um, I was doing talk radio at the time, and the phone lines were blowing up with people wanting to
Yeah.
give their thoughts about Garth Brooks, so it goes both ways,
Mhm, mhm.
for sure, and it kinda goes, Tyler, to the divisiveness that we face in our political bearings here in this country. And anytime you can put somebody in one category compared to another, it tends to draw a lot of feedback. And that's what we've been seeing all over the internet today, with a lot of people saying nasty things to Carrie Underwood and then other people voicing their support of Carrie Underwood when she's made it very clear in the past that she doesn't even like to talk politics. That politics isn't
Mhm.
something that she likes to come out and discuss because she feels like all it does is cause hurt feelings.
I don't understand why artists take these kinds of gigs and then are confused about the backlash.
That's fair too.
Like, if you
Yeah.
take any kind of political gig, you are pigeonholing yourself into one side. And, depending on what side that may be, your fan base might lash out at you. So, yeah, I'm not surprised, but I also just don't understand why continue to take these gigs if all it's gonna do is make half of your fan base hate you. And,
Maybe she doesn't care. Or
Yeah.
maybe she feels like the pros outweigh the cons, just like the other performers 4 years ago
Yeah.
felt. There's a lot of different elements to this, but you're right,
but what
Tyler.
are the pros?
Well, you're being getting to perform at a historical event.
That is correct. I mean, it is not everybody gets called in to perform at a presidential inauguration. It is sort of a significant
Yeah.
historical event for sure. You get the whole world watching you. I
Mhm.
mean, you want to talk about publicity. You're going to get the whole world with eyes on your performance. I mean,
Meet some cool people while you're there.
yeah. And we haven't heard anything from Carrie Underwood that says, like, hey, guys, stop being so mean. She hasn't come out with a statement or anything to that regard. I assume that they weighed the pros and cons before this was agreed upon,
Mhm.
and they felt like the pros outweighed the cons here. But it is significant because normally you do see the same sort of music associated with Donald Trump in every sort of campaign regard. And this is the maybe the most high profile artist to be associated with Donald Trump in some sort of public capacity, minus a Kid Rock or a Lee
Mhm.
Greenwood, or I believe Toby Keith performed back in 2016.
The Village People.
Village People, there are certain names that are constantly associated with Trump. Carrie Underwood has not been one of those, and now she is, and it's got a lot of people going like, "Oh, I don't like this. This makes me angry."
Yeah. When do you think that specifically talking about the inauguration, do you remember, because obviously you're slightly older than we are, that it became polarizing to perform an inauguration?
2016
So
feels like it would have been a pretty big lightning rod. I want to say, I'd say before that it would have been 2008
yeah.
with, or really, I guess technically 2009 with Barack Obama there. And I don't remember it was not one that was full of heavy discourse. I believe 2016 it started, and then it really got heated
Of
there in
course. Yeah.
2021, and now we're continuing that trend here.
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since politics became such a lightning rod between two completely different ideologies, and the other ideology is not allowed to exist, it has been a talking point for sure. And it continues with the announcement today that Carrie Underwood will be performing there at the inauguration. Underwood has never publicly supported or disavowed Donald Trump since he first ran for president in 2016. She's made it a point to not take sides politically, saying, quote, I try to stay far out of politics if possible, at least in public, because nobody wins. That's what Underwood said in an interview with The Guardian in 2019. You can kind of chalk it up to the logic that was used in 2021, which is these are musical artists. They get a chance to perform
Mhm.
on behalf of the country, not just one party or one candidate. And a lot of them frame themselves as doing just that. They're doing this as a service to their country,
Yeah.
and it has nothing to do with the candidate involved. But I promise you that when Trump won in 2016 and was being inaugurated in 2017, that there were probably a lot of people who said no when given the opportunity to perform at his inauguration back then.
Do you remember who it was? I don't.
I want to say
Let me see.
I want to say the reason that the Garth Brooks thing became such a big deal was maybe he was invited to do so in 2017 and it didn't work
Interesting.
out. Yeah. So Interesting there as entertainment and politics meet. We last saw Carrie Underwood perform at Dick Clark's New
Yeah.
Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest there on New Year's Eve. And she'll be joined by the Armed Forces Chorus and the United States Naval Academy Glee Club for her performance. So, just personally, I'm not a big Carrie Underwood fan. We had this question on the next round of like, who's an artist that everybody else seems to love that you can't stand? And the voice of Carrie Underwood, for some reason, for me, just it grates on my nerves, and I don't know what it is. And I know I'm in the minority, and it's nothing personal. It's just the music for some reason does not do it for me.
She has a very specific style that she stays with. It's belting, and as my mom says, it can come across as singing. I like Carrie Underwood. I think she has some good hits. At the Dick Clark Rockin' New Year's Eve, I did notice, not to, go back 3 weeks ago, but no one was really singing her songs except for Before He Cheats. Other than that, pretty quiet crowd.
I think she's known primarily for two songs. It's that one
Okay.
and the Sunday Night Football theme.
Oh, well, yeah. She makes so much money off of that. So much money.
And rightfully so, it's a banger.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, Monday night used to be the theme that everybody knew professionally. And then when that got thrown to the curb,
Yeah.
her Sunday night theme became kind of the football theme of football in America for songs with lyrics.
Yeah. I mean, I've enjoyed following her career from her American Idol days up until now, her family, her husband. I remember she had that fall back in, golly, that was probably around 2016, 2015.
Yep.
She walking the dogs or something and fell down the front stoop.
Yep. And then I remember it was like, there was a lot of
Mhm.
like, hey, be prepared for my appearance because it's going to
Yeah.
be vastly different. And then when I saw her, I was like, she looks the exact same to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
She obviously got some good work done following the accident or
Yeah.
whatever because she looks the same. She had some like glitter across her eyes, but other than that, she didn't look very different.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that some sort of like special thing that I'm calling glitter across the eyes?
No, no, no.
Okay.
That's just funny because it's her like nose and lip that got messed up. See, look at that. No one even noticed.
I didn't notice. Is it because I'm a dude? I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Glitter across the eyes. That's it.
All right, Tyler, this one's for you. Director Andy Muschietti says that The Flash flopped at the box office because, quote, it wasn't a movie that appealed to the four quadrants. It failed at that. When you spend $200 million making a movie, Warner Brothers wants to bring even your grandmother to the theaters. I've found in private conversations that a lot of people just don't care about The Flash as a character, particularly the two female quadrants. All of that is just the wind going against the film, I've learned. All right,
Let's break this down.
let's break this down a little bit. The Flash is a movie that was promoted as being the greatest superhero movie of all time.
Ooh.
And while you may have had some problems with the DCEU, which included Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, etc., all those, while you may have had some problems with that, the Justice League movies, The Flash was going to come in and it was going to clean everything up and it was going to be the best superhero movie, one of the best superhero movies ever made. That was the
Greatest
hype.
movie ever.
That was the hype.
Greatest movie ever. Wow.
Tom Cruise saw it like 6 months early and he called up Andy Muschietti. He's like, you've done it. This thing's a massive miracle. Then a couple things started happening.
Mm-hmm.
Number one,
Ezra Miller went on a rampage in Hawaii.
correct. Ezra Miller got caught up in some.
He
Uh,
had like farmland. He had like a farmhouse where he grew plants you weren't supposed to try not to get us demonetized, e.g.
Okay, I do it once, and suddenly I'm like the word. What did I even say? I'm not going to say it. Just what was it again?
No, we'll talk about
I'll
it.
text you.
Yeah,
in a
we'll
minute.
talk about it later.
I'm not going to get demonetized.
Anyway, so he's on his farm doing his thing, and then there were also like people who were not of age on that farm that were like runaways.
Fill in the
It
blanks
was
for me.
supposed to be like a cult-like environment.
Yeah, he was also on camera what appeared to be a physical assault of a female,
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
and he was doing some things that felt crazy, looked crazy, and were confirmed as crazy by the studio themselves because all of a sudden it became a Michael Keaton Batman movie with the way that they were marketing the film. They said
Wow.
Ezra Miller wasn't even part of the marketing efforts for the film as the main star, with the movie being called The Flash. The mistake they made from the get was making this a Flash movie and not making it a Michael Keaton Batman is back movie, which people would have been completely on board for. Batman's the most popular character in the entire world when it comes to superheroes, and his return with a story centered around him and his arc from the first two movies that he did with Tim Burton would have paid off bigly, but they decided, hey, in order to prop up the Flash, let's go ahead and bring a Michael Keaton Batman in because we expect to still have a Ben Affleck Batman and we don't want to confuse people.
Oh gosh.
That gamble didn't work out. The Flash movie itself is not horrible. I just want to make that clear. In my opinion, it's not horrible. Did it miss the mark from the sky high expectations of the marketing campaign? Definitely.
And the 3 years of delays?
Yes, and they rolled it out so slowly. There were fan screenings all over the country for like 2 months leading up to the official release, so that way they could build more hype and more word of mouth, and the hype and word of mouth wasn't getting bigger. It was like,
Mm.
"Oh, it was fine, it was okay," and, it started to die down, and then when I saw the film, I was like, "Oh, this isn't to the level that they thought it would be," and it didn't perform to that level. It didn't hold well, it didn't perform well. It was a disappointment in almost every regard. Warner Brothers was so confident in this Flash movie that they announced Andy Muschietti would take over Batman with The Brave
Brave
and the
and the Bold.
Bold. And they did that before this movie got released.
Yep.
It was very akin to when they had Ryan Johnson before The Last Jedi, and they said, Star Wars fans, you're going to love The Last Jedi. We're not worried about that. What we want to do is tell you that Ryan Johnson's going to have his own trilogy after this because we're so confident in The Last Jedi. Well, then we saw what happened with The Last Jedi, where it divided people very much, polarized the fan base. They haven't recovered since. Star Wars fandom hasn't. And Ryan Johnson's trilogy, we're still waiting on it. Will we ever get an Andy Muschietti Brave and the Bold? I feel like with him talking about this, the way he's talking about it, Andy Muschietti and Warner Brothers are going to be done very soon. I don't feel like you can come out and say, like, Warner Brothers had sky high expectations for this $200 million that they were putting on the line for this film, and nobody cares about The Flash. Like, you can't say stuff like this and devalue the characters and the property even more. And also, who cared about Guardians of the Galaxy or who cared about half of the MCU characters before they actually got on screen and they made them worth caring about? The Flash, you could make a character worth caring about with his arc and everything.
Mhm.
Has nothing to do with that sort of, oh, nobody cares about that character
Even the
anyway.
CW was able to do that with their series. That show was beloved
Yeah.
for the first few seasons. Um, yeah, I don't understand it. Andy Muschietti also supposed to direct The Brave and the Bold, but I wonder how he feels now that his movie has been pushed back even more to accommodate for the Batman Part 2.
Yeah. It's a mess with the Batman Warner Brothers wing right now. It's a mess. And what I think James Gunn wants to do is get the Superman hype, build it up, deliver on that, and then focus on, okay, here's our plans with Batman. But right now, he doesn't want to do anything, I don't think, to take away from Superman. But unfortunately, when you have conversation like this, I feel like it shows even more discombobulation over on the Warner Brothers side. And if there's anything they need, it's a showing of force that they have things in line now. Because the fans clearly rejected the DCEU. They didn't want any more of that. The Flash was looked at as a way to sort of fix it towards the end of like, we're going to narratively pay off some things. And it does not do that. And it didn't leave anybody clamoring for more. And there's this huge team up sequence in The Flash where they do a on your left moment
Yeah.
and they have a really bad CGI Christopher Reeve.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
And they
no.
have Nicolas Cage fighting spiders as Superman. And they have all these deep cuts. They have Adam West Batman in there. And it's
Oh,
like,
wow.
it just wasn't earned. It was just like a really bad narrative payoff. And they thought it would be this huge moment of we'll just bring every DC character ever back in.
I mean, that's the story of the DCEU.
Yeah.
It's let's bring every character in before we flesh out any kind of story. Let's let's have our Superman origin story and then go right into Batman versus Superman with Doomsday invading the planet and the formation of the Justice League. They were just going way too fast since the beginning. They need to stop and slow it down.
Yeah, Smuff, by the way, very funnily says, "Did you just say there's a problem with the Batwing?" Technically, yes. I did say there's a problem with the Batwing, and it needs to be repaired by Alfred pronto. Okay, let's move on to this. Netflix, e.g., has pushed back the launch of Meghan Markle's upcoming cooking show called With Love, Meghan, due to the LA wildfires, a very real situation out there. I hope
Yes.
there's a full investigation to get to the bottom of how all that happened.
Agreed.
That it just doesn't seem like that's just a natural occurrence of what took place in LA and what's all the ramifications and the destruction and really awful situation out there in LA. But who is really excited for this cooking show With Love Megan to debut on Netflix in the first place? I feel like this is a way to actually just promote the show.
That's what I was about to say. I also think it's a way to capitalize on some emotions right now of I'm gonna be very in front of things and I'm not gonna release my show for, the greater good of what's happening right now. Also, I have this show coming. Maybe now you'll wanna watch it. It's just messy to me.
Do Americans really care about
No.
Harry and Meghan?
No.
Because you would think, with the way that they've been forced on us for years now, that we would be waiting for
Anxiously.
every one of their moves, and I feel like they're just Britain's rejects that we're getting here.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Britain's rejects because everyone cares about Kate and William. I mean, Harry and Meghan, eh. They also their exit, whoever her PR team is, needs to be fired. They did nothing to make themselves desirable to the American people. Because I would say, and I'm curious what you guys think, the monarchy to us, we don't have like a disdain for it. Like it's kind of intriguing. I don't think unless you guys hated
No,
Queen Elizabeth.
no, there's some people that are fanatical though about keeping
Yeah.
up with the royals, and
Yeah.
we fought so we wouldn't have to keep up with the
I'm
royals.
struggling to even picture Meghan Markle right now.
Exactly.
No,
But you didn't hate
I thought Meghan Trainor at first, to be
No.
completely honest.
but you
It'd
didn't
be a
like
cooking show with her.
you didn't hate Queen Elizabeth. Like you didn't have like a visceral reaction towards her.
I'm indifferent. I
Exactly.
don't know anything about her, nor
Yeah.
really care to.
But can I also just say, EG, I
Yeah.
don't think Tyler's the target audience for With Love Megan either.
No, that's that's true. But I don't know. I feel like Americans don't really have a problem with the royal family, and now somehow we have a problem with the royal family because of them.
I think Andy Muschietti's probably going. The people who are looking forward to With Love Megan, if they had just come out to support The Flash, I would have had $1 billion hit on my hands.
Yeah.
Probably not. Okay, let's move on to this. Tyler, two totally generic sequels that we witnessed here towards the end of 2024, put out by the same studio, Mufasa and Moana 2. They're both fine in their different regards. They're not offensively bad, but they're very much just present. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're just kind of there, but they're making plenty of money.
They are, and that's the story here. Mufasa has surpassed $500 million globally. You may remember the 2019 Lion King passed $1 billion. So Mufasa not really up to par with the series so far, but it is an original story based on what was the 2019 Lion King, basically rehashing the 93 version that is so beloved. Moana 2, though, is close to passing $1 billion. It may have already passed $1 billion at the time of this, but the last I had it was at 990 million. I'm sure it's already passed $1 billion globally, but you may have to wait for another day to pass or so in order for them to
Yeah,
update it.
I've got 990 right now.
So it's going to pass $1 billion. That's another big win for Disney this year. Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2, and now Moana 2 all passing $1 billion. Can't deny that they have done what no other studio could do this year. No other studio even got a film to $1 billion this year. It's the House of the Mouse right now, probably pretty excited about having so much success, especially on the animation front. The R-rated, Deadpool and Wolverine for sure was the sort of event of the summer and really capitalized on basically being a roast of the current state of the MCU as well.
Yeah, I think that's why people showed up for Deadpool and Wolverine because it kind of was a callback and it paid respects to the old Marvel properties and made fun of a lot of the new ones. And that's what you need with Marvel movies right now. You need to get away from the quippy, ironic humor and either go full comedy like Deadpool tries to do, or actually take yourself seriously like the Batman does.
Do you think Captain America Brave New World, I try not to say Brave and the Bold there, Captain
Mhm.
America Brave New World, which comes out Valentine's Day, do you think it will make over $100 million that weekend in its debut?
Ooh.
That's kind of the mark right now.
What else opens that week?
There is I believe it's Hard Eyes movie that comes out.
That's the week before
There's
that, I think.
Paddington 3 that
Mhm.
comes out that weekend.
Oh, Paddington 3 is the one I'll be at. Well, technically, I'll be at both
Right.
to review both, but I'll be more excited for Paddington 3. Yeah, Hard Eyes and Love Heart Hurts come out the week before that. So, Captain America will be competing against Paddington, and that's about it. 100 million. I'm gonna go no. I'm gonna go no. I don't think this version of the MCU has really drawn anybody in.
Yeah.
If anything, it's just lost people over time because there's really not anything I'm looking forward to in that universe. Like, we're gonna have a couple more movies and then some big event that we're all supposed to care about and is supposed to rival the success of Endgame,
Right.
and
Robert
that's just not gonna happen.
Robert Downey Jr. coming in as Doctor Doom, a lot of former faces popping back up,
Mhm.
including Chris Evans as Captain America, which I feel like knowing that going into this Captain America kind of inflates this one even
Yeah,
more.
it
Yeah,
absolutely does.
that's weird.
I don't have
Anthony,
anything against Anthony Mackie's character. I'm just not interested in it. They keep showing the trailers before everything you go see, and I swear there's a new cut of the trailer each week, and none of them are really interest me in the movie.
this movie notably has gone through production hell.
Well, yeah,
Now,
it might be the most reshot, recut movie in cinematic history.
there's talks of this thing having cost maybe 350 million when it's all said and done to produce.
Wow.
Uh, Let's not forget, though, a movie like Rogue One also went through production hell from the same studio in Disney, and it turned out to where it became a fan favorite.
Mhm.
There's a chance this one becomes a fan favorite. It's playing more in the political thriller sort of. Is it going to be more like Winter Soldier than it is any of the other Captain America movies? Very much potentially. I'm holding out hope it's good. I love Harrison Ford as a president. Anytime you can give me Harrison Ford in that role, I love Air Force One. I'm hoping Harrison Ford delivers in this, but
I'm
it
hoping he looks like he wants to be there. Because that is the issue with Harrison Ford. You might get him, but you don't know if you're really getting him or if he's just clocking
yeah.
in, clocking out.
On the press tour, he's very much like, I don't know what I shot. I don't know why I'm here.
Oh,
I don't know anything. He thinks
Hey,
that's
you know, the last time we heard that on a press tour before a superhero movie, it released about 1 year before Captain America Brave New World will. And that's Madam Web, Dakota Johnson. She didn't know what she shot. She didn't know what she was a part of. She actually thought she was a part of the MCU until she actually talked to her agent and learned a little bit more about the role.
I'm not going to take away from your statement there because it's an apt analogy. However, Dakota Johnson and Harrison Ford are on two different playing fields here. And I promise you this Brave New World will be better than Madam Web was. There's no way it can be
There's no
worse.
way it can be
There's no
worse.
way it can be worse.
it's
That
so
is
awful.
too low.
I can't wait to pull this clip and like a month from now. It was worse. I can't believe it. Anyway, so there we go. Hey, I want to get to this. My favorite movie of the year last year was a movie by the name of
A real pain.
no, Alien Romulus.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. I knew that.
Thank you, EG.
You're welcome.
Alien Romulus was my favorite movie of 2024. Now I still a couple I haven't seen. The Brutalist. I want to see that. I want to see where I stand on it. It's almost 4 hours long. There's a 15-20 minute intermission. Should be a very interesting event, regardless of whether or not I like it. Alien Romulus has officially fixed the CGI of Ian Holm in the home release after Fede Alvarez said, quote, "We ran out of time in post-production to get it right for theaters. I wasn't 100% happy with some of the shots where you could feel a bit more than the CG intervention. So for people that react negatively, I don't blame them. We fixed it. We made it better for the release right now. I convinced the studio we need to spend the money and make sure we give the companies that were involved in making it the proper time to finish it and do it right. It's so much better." That is what Fede Alvarez has to say. Now, I haven't seen the home release.
I've seen a clip or two.
Is it better?
Yeah, they fixed the mouth.
Okay. That's a good part. It was jarring,
Mhm.
and that was the biggest complaint I heard from people who loved or hated the movie, that CGI didn't look good for a returning character there from the original Alien, and the criticism was fair. I still thought it was fine. It was good enough to where I was happy to see it on the big screen compared to on Hulu where it was originally
Mhm.
supposed to premiere. But now that I know they've made it even better, that's awesome. Does this set the precedent though, EG, of like, hey, the film wasn't really fully completed, but then it made a lot of money and it got some support, so we ended up fixing it on the back end, and so voila, I don't have to worry about having complete films anymore before they hit the screens.
Yeah, that's kinda scary to think about that they can just tweak things and re-put it out there. I don't know why you wouldn't do it because I guess, in the back of your mind, you're like, "Well, a home release will be better."
Well, we saw George Lucas do this with Star Wars, where he was able to, in his 97 re releases of the original trilogy, make it more his vision of what he would have loved to have done during the 70s and 80s. That's a little bit different,
Yeah.
and it's not a fair apples to apples comparison here. But are we going to see more and more directors that, if their film is successful, going back and patching things up?
Ooh, I hope it doesn't turn into the video game model where you just get a barely
Yeah.
watchable movie at the start, and then a month later they're like, "We fixed it."
Uh-huh. I don't know, that'll be interesting to keep up with and see where that leads to. Because I understand, like, as you were saying with Star Wars and stuff, obviously the technology was a lot better 2 decades later, and so there was a benefit to that. You got a kind of a new look, but, I mean, how much can change in 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah.
I mean, you can change a lot, but I'm saying in terms of, like, actually needing to, technology isn't getting any better, it feels lazy to me.
Well, it's something we'll be monitoring of whether or not this is a trend that we continue to see in Hollywood. Don't love the trend, but I do love the fact that in my favorite movie of the year, they made it even better. So definitely a movie I recommend there in Alien Romulus. If you were kind of on the fence, you're like, yeah, I like the first and second Alien movies. I don't really like, you'll like this, I think. So check it out, Alien Romulus. Okay, Shrek 5's release date
There's
has,
another
there's
one?
another one. Yeah, these things print money. The release date has been pushed back from July 1st of 2026 to Wednesday, December 23rd, 2026. Tyler, you're holding your hat over your heart right now. I'm going to tell you, Tyler, this is a good thing.
Sell me on it, Tim.
I think this is a great thing. Christmas releases are looked at as we got something special here and we're going to hold it back.
Oh.
This past Christmas, you went into the theater and one of your favorite movies of 2024 that you've watched numerous times since has grown fondly on your heart, and that is Baby Girl. You've watched Baby Girl so many times. I'm kidding. You've watched Nosferatu.
I just was I wish you could have captured my face just then.
Tyler was like, "We're buds," until I said that. Nosferatu it was the movie event of Christmas. They're trying to do the same thing with Shrek 5. I think they feel like they got something really special here. They don't want it to get lost in that summer window where you get big release after big release after big release. And I think that they're going to promote heavily, hey, this is a Christmas event because it's a family event and it's going to deliver on the goods. It's going to be a gift for all of you Shrek fans.
Mm.
You are a Shrek fan, Tyler.
I am. I am. I love the first two Shrek movies mainly. Um, it's just a franchise that I always went back to. I would always rewatch those two movies. And I think the jokes hold up. I think the animation still holds up today, and the jokes fit well for that sort of
Mhm.
late 2000, or excuse me,
Really?
late 90s, early 2000s sort of family humor with some adult jokes mixed in, and it's a classic. It's an
Yeah.
absolute classic. I just hope that Shrek 5 goes more in that vein rather than Shrek 4 with the more just 100% family goofy humor route.
I loved Puss in Boots: The Last Wish when it came out a couple years ago.
Animation was spectacular in that.
One of the best on-screen villains I've ever seen in death that
Mhm.
was in that film. If you've seen Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, you maybe know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you're like, well, Tim, you really like this, kid-friendly cartoon. I'm telling you, some of the best on-screen animation I've seen in the past decade, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. If you don't believe me, if you're like, "Ah, man, I'll call your bluff on that," watch it and be like, "Oh, man, I got invested in this little animated cat as Antonio Banderas, the star of."
Baby girl.
Right, that is exactly correct.
Oh.
Yeah,
Huh.
one of the stars there.
I like Shrek 2 a lot. That was my go-to.
Shrek 2 is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Funky Town.
Shrek 2 is fantastic. I loved the, I Need a Hero sequence.
Me too.
Really good.
Yeah.
I will say,
I like the whole sequence with the
Gingerbread.
cops.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That one was great.
I'm trying to remember that off the top of my head.
It's,
Explain it back to me.
it's like we've got a white Bronco heading west.
Turns into a
Donkey turns
donkey.
into a horse, and then they find catnip on Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
That I do remember that. They put him
Yeah.
in little handcuffs.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
put yeah.
I watched a lot of live PD this past weekend. Don't ask me why. Just watched it nonstop.
Such a good show.
Got
It
got
is.
pulled in and just I was initiating traffic stops on my family throughout the course of the weekend. They weren't behind the wheel or anything, but
Yeah.
it's like follow my finger. Nope, not your head, just your eyes, ma'am. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was playing the at-home version. I don't know why. Let's move on before I say something else. Hey, moving in that spot, by the way, July 2026, Shrek moving to Christmas. Minions 3 is moving up into that summer 2026 spot. It was originally planned for June of 2027. So I think if you're a DreamWorks animation fan, this is all good news for you. If you like both properties,
I thought Minions was Illumination.
still, isn't it it's a
Is it?
part of,
I don't know. I thought it was separate.
it's Universal, isn't it? They're both Universal, right? Are they both Universal?
Minions are at the Universal
Shrek-
Park.
Okay, yeah. Illumination is a like a subsidiary of Universal.
Okay.
Okay. So I think I'm right on all of that.
Yep.
But yeah, Minions 3 moving into that spot there on June 30th. Oh, sorry, in summer of 2026 on July 1st, moving from June 2027. Okay, let's move to this. Timothy Chalamet is set to host the January 25th episode of SNL, but he'll also be serving as the musical guest. Is he doing Bob Dylan music or what is he doing, Tyler?
I assume so.
Mm.
When I first saw the announcement, I guess it's because of all the just old Timothy Chalamet videos that have been popping up on my feed lately. He has a very odd digital footprint. I don't know if you've seen.
I have seen the
Eh,
talent
Yeah,
shows and all of
talent
that.
shows, school
haven't.
projects, all
Yep.
that. I don't know why, but that was the first thing I went to, and then I was like, "Oh wait, no, he'll do Bob Dylan." Unless he just walks out and starts singing the music from Wonka.
This is my read on it. I may be completely wrong. He may do something experimental or I don't know. I think this is a push for his Oscar campaign
Yes.
in that it's still weird. The marketing behind A Complete Unknown to me is strange because they don't feel like there's enough older generational Bob Dylan fans to truly support the movement of the movie by itself. They
But they're
feel
going to all the young places.
right. They're going to all the young places. And now, don't get me wrong, a lot of people wouldn't consider Saturday Night Live to be that young, but definitely they're trying to market it in a young way. With if you hear Timothy Chalamet's hosting and doing the music performance, you're more likely to tune in if you're a younger person going, oh, he's going to do both. Let's see how he does this, because it creates a little bit more of a viral sensation behind it. But the marketing behind this has been flat to me. The movie itself, the story, felt very flat. It felt very there's a lot of love put into this movie for sure. There's a lot of caring. Like Timothy Chalamet really cares about this project deeply.
Yeah, and when he was doing his press run for the movie, he was on Theo Vaughn's podcast and he was talking about how he always gives his all to every role. He always wants to put his best foot forward and that he considers it, he's grateful that he's in the position that he's in And so he wants to give it as all for
Yeah.
every single job.
It's not complete fair comparison, but this feels like to me this year what we saw with Maestro last year with Bradley Cooper,
Oh yeah.
where Bradley Cooper like totally went into that role in that project with
Mhm.
as Leonard Bernstein with just every fiber of his being. I'm going to become this person. He's connected with the family. I mean, it was like a riveting personality change for him.
Mhm.
And Timothy Chalamet's done the same thing with Bob Dylan, but it's the same sort of like the movie's not that great.
Right.
So like good job guys that you dedicated your whole life to this, but the movie's not that great. And Maestro was not a very good movie. I was looking forward to it. Not a very good movie. Nobody talks about it.
No, I didn't even know it
No.
existed. I like Bradley Cooper.
It's on Netflix. They put it on Netflix. Nobody talks about it. This Complete Unknown movie, I mean, it just feels like no one's really talking about it.
Has Spud seen it yet?
I haven't talked to him about last I talked to him a week ago, he had not.
So
So
we'll see tonight at poker if
we
you.
we'll see.
I'm more excited for Timothy Chalamet in the biopic this year called Marty Supreme from
Mhm.
A24. It's I believe it's Josh Safdie directing this one, but it's Timothy Chalamet and Tyler the Creator, and he will be playing a ping pong player named Marty Reisman
The Safdie brothers
or
broke
Reisman.
the Safdie brothers broke up,
Yep,
or they at least decided they were going to go their separate ways on working on different projects.
work on their solo careers.
And we could get two awesome movies based on that
Yeah,
decision.
the other one's doing a Smashing Machine. with The Rock.
Smashing Machine with The Rock, which is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I think it will deliver, and I think they're going to do a great job of rehabilitating The Rock as an actor rather than just a performer. The Rock has sort of been labeled lately as a performer, and I believe they're going to really. Benny Safdie's going to make The Rock resonate as an actual actor because he's got the chops. He just hadn't been in the right
He
roles.
needs a role like that because right now he doesn't even feel like a human to me, for being completely honest.
Who, The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock. The
Yeah.
way he talked about, once again, I'm gonna dunk on this movie, Red One. Just the way he talked about, he's like, "Oh, I sat in Christopher Nolan's chair to watch this same chair he watched Oppenheimer in, and I thought that's perfection." And the whole interview clip just sounded like it just sounded like he's Homelander or something. He's just doing every detail was perfect, down to
Yeah,
the last detail.
I didn't
And,
see that to begin with, but I would love to see The Rock on The Boys. I think it
yes,
would
I
work
think that
great.
would work. That would actually work for The Rock.
It would work.
But, yeah, The Rock needs a dramatic role for people to see him as more than just The Rock.
And I think you're going to get it this year. So I'm looking forward to that. We shall see. Brian Pavlik, by the way, says Thompson High School doing Shrek this spring for the musical. Just saying. Let me tell you, if you have not been to a Thompson High School musical theater production, legitimate, lots of fun, book your tickets, bring the family. You won't be disappointed. My family will be there for that. And I'm very excited about the future of Thompson Musical Theater. So just a heads up there from Brian Pavlik, who's got the news with us here in the chat. Okay, when we talk about transformative performances, e.g., you asked me, are you going to the movies today?
I did.
I am. I'm going to see a movie that I believe will be coming up on the Meltdown Countdown. So we're going to save Tyler's full thoughts for that. But Aaron Sorkin has come out with nothing but praise for Pamela Anderson's performance in the movie The Last Showgirl, saying, quote, she isn't just giving a great performance relative to expectations. She's delivering a great performance relative to her peers, of which she now has few. Aaron Sorkin is one of the greatest screenwriters in the history of television and film. There's a lot of Aaron Sorkin projects I absolutely love. Molly's Game being one of those
Okay.
that we adore.
We do.
That was his directorial debut as a film director, and he knocked it out of the park with Molly's Game. He's come out with this huge praise for Pamela Anderson. This is a big push for her Oscar campaign. I feel like she's sort of had a lot of the wind taken out of her sails from Demi Moore and the amount of adrenaline that's come from her acceptance speech at the Golden Globes, and people looking at the substance maybe as a real awards contender in the acting performances. But I'm excited to see this movie today. I'm a sucker for Las Vegas themed movies.
Yeah.
This is one of those.
And it's like old Vegas?
Older Vegas, not
Okay.
like it's sort of like what I feel, and I haven't seen it. is it feels like old Vegas is becoming new Vegas and they're phasing out some of the stuff that made Vegas what it used to be.
Yeah, kind of. It centers around one of the last sort of traditional showgirl shows in Las Vegas, as a lot of other acts are transforming into like Cirque du Soleil type stuff.
So, is this a movie you think I would enjoy, Tim?
I honestly don't know because I haven't seen it. I would know
It's
once.
not scary though.
No,
Okay.
no, it's more of a dramatic character
We'll get
piece.
to it.
Oh, okay.
We'll get
okay,
to
okay.
we'll get to it.
I will say it came in 10th this weekend at the box office, which was really good for this type of movie. We've been talking a lot about Better Man, and that movie with about 400 more theaters tanked. Nobody cared about the monkey singing on
Yeah,
the screen.
nobody in America cares about Robbie Williams. What a shocker.
I saw some wonderful tweets about that this morning. I'm gonna send it to y'all, but a lot of people are saying the same things.
Yeah, I didn't have any appetite to go see it. I
Oh.
told Tyler I have no appetite to go see this, but I do have very much of an appetite to go see The Last Showgirl.
I think you will enjoy Better Man more than you will The Last Show.
Oh.
I'll be straight up with you.
Okay, and I'll be honest with you. You know I will be once I see both, but based on premise alone, sucker for Vegas movies.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a character study that I'm going to like. It's got Dave Bautista in it. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it.
Oh, love.
I just,
I think you'll like
Okay.
Better Man.
I saw the clip of Better Man. Weird looking.
it does look weird, but maybe it works within the scope of the movie.
It does. It's more of a fantastical sort of look at a music biopic, so it works.
So I'm going to hate The Last Showgirl.
Wow.
I think so.
Oh, no.
Did you not watch my review?
Oh.
Come on, you commented
hold
on
on.
it too.
Hold on.
did.
You just sounded like a British monkey there.
You did.
I guess
Better
I
Man.
Did you not watch my review?
Did you not watch it?
Better Man, just,
Wow.
you're not going to beat the Ed Sheeran talk if you
No.
continue to sound like that.
I'm not beating Ed Sheeran allegations.
I watched-
EG's not beating Russian spy
No.
ones.
Tyler, I watched all of your reviews. I heard you come out and you said Last Showgirl 2 to 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like not happy with the way that the story progressed and the payoffs. I watched it. I just am, you know what I told myself? Okay, I've got Tyler's entry point there, but I'm going to go in with a fresh, like, just watching it for what it is and see if I like it. And I'm going to do that today. And we will have a review tomorrow on The Last Showgirl.
You gonna get popcorn?
Potentially.
Okay.
They're doing unlimited refills at AMC on every size popcorn on January 19th, which is National Popcorn Day. At, I believe it's Cinemark,
Oh my goodness.
they have a bring your own popcorn bucket day up to a certain amount.
I think it's up to 400 ounces or something.
Golly.
So National
$5.
Popcorn Day is January 19th.
Okay, I need to keep that on the calendar.
So if you want to go in there and just get some popcorn, that's your day to do it.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Are you going to go see The Last Showgirl?
I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about it.
Okay. Let me know. We're going to go to this. The Weeknd,
The artist.
the artist, not this weekend, not last weekend, not next weekend, the weekend, might actually retire the weekend. I feel like this conversation's been around for a while because the weekend says, quote, it's a headspace I've got to get into that I just don't have any more desire for. It never ends until you end it. When is the right time to leave, if not at your peak? Once you understand who I am too much, then it's time to pivot. For me now, the weekend, whatever that is, it's been mastered. No one's going to do the weekend better than me, and I'm not going to do it better than what it is right now. I just want to know what comes after. I want to know what tomorrow looks like.
That was the most vague, pretentious garbage I've ever heard for an answer to any question that's ever been asked. I like The Weeknd, but dude just needs to shut up. I hate hearing him in interviews.
Contradictory too. Like, what did he just? What?
I'm just telling you what the quote is. It was one of the weirder quotes. I like The Weeknd's music.
I do too.
The artist himself is strange, to say the least.
Creative genius behind the idol.
Right. That was not a good foray into acting on television, one of the cringiest television experiences ever. But he's got a new album coming out, and he's teasing this could be the end because everything's perfect. So buy the album? I don't know.
So I didn't know that The Weeknd Who else is in The Weeknd? I thought it was one.
It's just him.
Just
Oh,
do you know The Weeknd's real name?
it's something weird.
Abel something
Oh.
or other.
Right. I think he wants to create a second character, whether that's more like himself or more, but he basically he sees The Weeknd as a persona
Okay.
that he wants to end.
But it is just him in The Weeknd.
That is correct.
Wow.
This is like when Childish Gambino says, like, this will be the last Childish Gambino project,
Yeah.
but then he's got, like, 2 shows and a soundtrack as Donald Glover and
Yeah.
then starting up another thing.
I don't know. The Weeknd is one of the most popular acts in the entire world. For a long time was at the top of the charts. Taylor Swift has sort of trounced that a little bit, and The Weeknd is looking to punch back with an album release, I believe, what, this week coming up?
I guess
Sometime soon.
it'll be Friday if it's dropping this week. Zach with an excellent comment hits the nail on the head. The Weeknd wants to be Prince.
That's pretty
That's
good.
exactly what's happening. This is the Weeknd's sort of symbol era.
Yeah, I see Smuff in there. So The Weeknd wants to be Chris Gaines, which is the Garth Brooks secondary figure there. It's weird. I don't know.
It's very Hollywood.
He's very successful with this act. The music is still in demand, but he's basically saying, look, I might as well go ahead and leave when it's at its peak because I don't want to come off the highs of this.
I
And
agree
I'm
with-
tired of it.
I agree with that point, but if he had put it in just regular words,
He did.
I would agree with him.
All right, last story here on my end. Former WWE CEO Vince McMahon has settled with the SEC. That's not the football conference.
Yep.
The Security and Exchange Commission over hush money payments. McMahon will pay a $400,000 civil penalty and reimburse WWE $1.33 million for these basically payments to hush up those that he had some sort of sexual relations with allegedly.
Oh,
So,
all right.
if you have not watched the McMahon documentary on Netflix, not a lot of new information there for wrestling fanatics, but still well presented. It's well edited. It's high quality production there from Bill Simmons and his crew. And tonight you get your second ever WWE Raw on Netflix. So if you're looking for some counter programming there and you want to get into the McMahon story, I believe it's 4 chapters on Netflix there. And everybody up here was raving about it that's not a wrestling fan. So I think it's got some amazing stories for those that maybe haven't heard it the first time around or lived it the first time around. So there we go. If you are a wrestler that has had your mouth punched in a couple of times, maybe one too many times, maybe you took a Mick Foley fall off the cell there towards the middle and you got your tooth up your nose.
If your dental health's at rock bottom,
Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate you getting in on this. We want you to reach out to the team that we trust most, located on Grants Mill Road. Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, and Dr. Nolan over at Alabama Dental Associates, providing you all sorts of services when it comes to staying on top of your dental health. Whether you need to have that nagging toothache looked at or you need to get on top of those regular cleanings, they are there for you, accepting new patients now. It can help you feel at ease about all of your upcoming dental procedures. Maybe you just had too much to snack on over the past couple of holidays here and your teeth ain't what they used to be. Go visit the team that we trust most at Alabama Dental Associates, 205-956-8977, or visit alabamadental.com where they look forward to seeing you. It's now time for a Meltdown Countdown. Tyler, before we begin, we are going to be getting into the 5 things that Tyler watched over the course of the weekend. I'm going to tell you about mine real
Okay.
quick. I told you about Live PD, which I watched all weekend.
such a good show. Do you have a favorite department?
I don't right off the top of my head. For some reason, I want to say Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I want to say that was the one I probably
Pasco County is another good one too.
correct. Tyler, man, I
I
feel a
used to
bond.
watch
that's-
a lot of live PD back when it was on all the
This
time.
is your Japanese eBay moment.
I can tell. What if you end up on Live PD with the police department down the street here that you were
I've actually seen Jefferson County on there a couple times.
possible? Okay, I watched a lot of Live PD, but we had our mystery movie box opening last week, which you can catch that video. It's out on the channel. Highly recommend. And out of that, I pulled a couple of Blu-rays and DVDs, and we watched Monsters University,
Wonderful.
on Friday, which I love that movie. I really think it's maybe my favorite Pixar sequel ever. And I watched The Truman Show last night.
Nice.
So I'm really making an effort. I've got a letterbox list I've created of all the movies that I'm either watching or rewatching, putting on that list and putting my star ratings. And I did a deep dive on the career of Jim Carrey last night, really started to figure out where he was in his heights of the 90s, which he was on a rocket ship to the moon in the 90s with what he was releasing back to back to back. Took some creative risks, The Truman Show also being one of those. But I watched all of those this weekend, had a really good time, and I look forward to maybe more mystery movie box unboxings so that way I can catch up on even more great stuff and own it, which is nice. I didn't have to log in.
That
I
is
didn't have to
nice.
figure out what streaming service is connected to what or do the QR codes I didn't have to do any of that. I just had to put the disc in and enjoy it. And I'm like, this is why physical media is awesome. You
Yeah.
just have to have the actual disc player. Okay, Tyler, you saw 5 things. I don't think any of them were on DVD or Blu-ray, but tell me about your weekend. 5 different movies, am I correct?
Correct, correct. 2 of these you could have bought on, Blu-ray, you could have
Hmm.
bought in a physical form, one of which you could find on streaming, although you might not want to. We'll talk about it. And then the other 2 in theaters right now. So, let's
Yeah.
start off number 5, the streaming choice. It's one of the worst movies of 2024.
Oh, no.
I wanted to prepare myself because tonight I will be seeing Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, the
Oh,
latest entry in the Pooniverse. So I wanted to
What?
go back to another sort of public domain movie that got made in 2024, and that was The Mousetrap, formerly known as Mickey's Mousetrap. It takes place in a sort of arcade, sort of Chuck E. Cheese type area, and a girl's having her 21st birthday there because she has to, like, work late, so her friends show up and, like, make a surprise party, and, Mickey Mouse starts running around with a big knife, and he can teleport.
Can't you just kick him?
He can teleport,
Oh,
EG, he's very fast.
sue me.
and these are ranked from things that you like the least to things you like the most,
Yes,
right? Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yes, this is the worst thing I saw over the weekend, one of the worst things of 2024. This made me realize I've actually seen better student films in Auburn than I saw with this. Yes, EG.
Um, do you when you watch these movies, do you ever click, like, the fast forward, or are you locked in for the whole duration?
Oh, no, you can't hit fast forward. I need to review it as it was intended to be watched.
He is correct. Now,
Wow.
does he catch a couple of Z's in the theater a couple of times? Yes, but that's just because he's a hardworking
It's just the
professional.
showbiz.
There's
Absolutely.
sometimes I fall asleep and I have to go watch one of these dog water movies a second
I
time just to
mean,
He'll
review
do
it.
it.
I'll do it. I'll
I
do it.
think the review is in the sleeping, though.
I think if it is putting him to sleep, even though sometimes, some of the things
Yeah.
let's pull back the curtain just a little bit, just a hair.
'Kay.
Tyler's the hardest working man in local showbiz. I've said this over and over again. I stand by it. However, there's a few times where we see the same thing and I'll be like, "Hey, what'd you think of that moment in the last 10 minutes?" And you'll be like, "Be honest, got to go see it again tonight because I was asleep." And
Yeah.
it was like, I
Okay.
understand that.
It
I understand
happened.
that.
It happened during The First Omen. That's a good movie.
Oh, it is.
I just fell asleep.
I believe that was also a double feature night with
That was a double feature night for me. I can't remember what the other thing I saw.
Monkey Man.
Maybe Monkey Man.
You know Tyler better than he knows himself.
I did a Monkey Man and First Omen double feature that night.
They released, like, right at the same time, and I know I didn't do Immaculate and First Omen, and I know I didn't do Late Night with the Devil and First Omen because I did Late Night
Uh.
with the Devil and Immaculate.
All of these movies, including the Mickey Mouse Chuck E. Cheese, is these movies that EG will not be seeing.
Nope.
Correct.
Let's move on to number 4. Maybe you'll sell EG a little bit here.
Number 4, went to the theaters because this new movie has been getting a lot of praise for one particular actress's
Oh,
performance,
no.
and that is The Last Showgirl.
Oh.
I was looking forward to this because of the praise it's gotten, but other than that, I went in pretty much blind. Um, yeah, just was not a fan of this one. I thought she was fine in this. She's just fine. It kind of tackles a lot of the same themes that The Substance tackles, but just not executed nearly as well, in my opinion. Um, if you want to see like a performance sort of struggles of being a dancer movie, go watch Black Swan. That's done much better. If you want to see um the struggles of being an aging woman in a performance type career. Go watch The Substance. I think that is done much better. This just kind of exists. I
Okay.
didn't like the dialogue in this, and didn't like the ending at all. I don't think it rewards you for the time you've sat watching it, and the movie is weaker for it.
Iconic Vegas imagery in this?
Not really. You don't really get to see much of Vegas or of the actual show that is like so important to this character.
So help me out with this. You
Yeah.
gave it a 2 to a 2.5.
Uh-huh.
2.5 being out of 5.
Yes.
Why did it reach those marks? Like, what was it about it that you felt like it earned it enough to where it was like almost a half good movie?
I thought the cinematography was very, very good, and I thought the story had good bones.
Potential. Okay.
There was potential there, but it just never really took the interesting path at any point in the movie.
I'm worried now that I'm going to be wasting, well, at least it's only what, 86
It's
minutes?
like 81 minutes, I
81
think.
minutes.
It's less than an
Quick.
hour and a half, so it does get you in and out of there
I'm
pretty quick.
I'm going to watch it right before poker and I will let you know what I think.
Yeah, I want to
But
know too.
I think
Yeah,
it's going to be that
send me your
perfect
out of the theater reaction, and I'll post it tonight.
81 minutes, right out, boom. I don't know how many other people are going to go see this, but I'm going to probably do that. Okay, let's move on to number 3 on this Meltdown countdown of the 5 things that Tyler experienced over the wintry weekend.
All right. So I just realized I didn't give a rating for the other movies. So 2 to 2.5 for Last Showgirl. The Mousetrap, however, that is a solid cheeks out of 5. It is awful. Shouldn't even exist.
I just heard Hunter Bussey screaming somewhere.
Yep.
He did it. Okay, great.
I saw it earlier in the chat, and I said, I'll take care of you, Hunter." Moving on, number 3 on my list, another movie I saw in the theater. Saw it last night. I'm a sucker for heist movies. I love seeing the meticulous planning of trying to
Cracking the password.
crack a safe, get into a vault, and get out without anybody knowing. The car chases, everything that goes on into a heist movie. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, kind of disappointed me because it didn't really have that grit I was expecting that was in the original, and it's just kind of bloated for being a 2.5 hour movie. A lot of the scenes, stuff happens. None of it really pushes the plot forward or is memorable in any way. So it just becomes another run of the mill heist movie. And you'll have a much better time just rewatching The Town or Heat or really any of the other classics.
This movie drew enough people to be number 1 at the box office this past weekend, making $15.5 million. Lionsgate's got to be pretty happy about that. They haven't had a lot to celebrate here lately.
That's true. That's
And
true.
Lionsgate behind
They've been getting
Borderlands,
kicked in the teeth.
The Crow,
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. I mean, just miss after miss after. I don't think anybody in 2024, nobody, no single person had a worse 2024 than what Lionsgate had at the Cineplex. So for them to be number 1, good for them. They're starting off 2025 on a high note here, but you're saying that this is a very generic sort of heist movie.
It's generic. I did like the banter between Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. Gave it a nice sort of Rush Hour feel to it, nice buddy cop movie feel. But other than that,
Okay.
there's just better heist movies you can watch, and you don't have to spend money to watch.
So on a grade from cheeks to 5, this is
Like a 2.5
two
to
and a half,
3.
2.5 to
It's
3.
not terrible, but it's also just not worth the money.
I do like how Tyler gives a range because it kind of
Mm.
lets you know which way he's leaning shoulder wise, whether it's like or
It's helpful.
that's helpful. Okay, let's move on, Tyler.
Number 2. So my number 1 choice on this list actually inspired me to watch this movie again because, well, we'll get to it when I reveal my number 1 choice. But this was a movie that I initially was just kind of when I watched it for the first time, and after I watched Midsummer again, I said, "Yeah, this is just fine. This is just fine." I always preferred Hereditary. but I thought, you know what? I gave my number one movie another shot and really liked it. I'll give this one another shot and maybe I'll really like it too. And I think Florence Pugh's fantastic. Definitely a reason why she doesn't want to put herself in the headspace to perform the way she does in this movie. But it's fine. It's fine. It's not very scary to be a horror movie. It doesn't feel very tense. And it's just it's just fine. It's just
Okay,
fine.
I got it. I got it. My take on Midsummer, EG would hate it, is
That's true.
it was jarringly tense at points. I mean, for me personally, I was like, okay, it felt very much like if movie Hostel just took place in broad daylight the entire time. And like it kind of had that same sort of feeling of like, okay, when's everything gonna come crashing down and when's the characters on screen going to be aware that there's something really wrong here. So it worked for me in that regard. I do like Hereditary more, and Midsummer since has become sort of this pop culture iconic
And maybe
imagery.
that's why it didn't resonate with
Yeah,
me as much because I saw it after for the first time after it had become this huge phenomenon. So maybe it had been just way too hyped up for me to for it to
see,
deliver on that.
this has been my take on the Toby Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That one gets hyped up a lot for what it is.
That it looks beautiful,
Mhm.
but it's like the movie itself I don't love, but I
Yeah.
think it's got great imagery.
Oh
I
yeah.
felt the same about Midsummer.
Yeah.
Like great imagery, really iconic. You would know immediately when you see a frame from the movie that's from Midsummer.
Mhm.
But the movie itself, I don't really want to sit down and go through the pace of it again, you know.
Oh
So
man, it takes so long to get to anything. Well, I don't want to say anything shocking. It opens up with you know, Florence Pugh's family dying. But
yeah,
to get to any of the actual horror elements later in the movie,
yeah,
man, you're putting in some time getting through talk about thesis statements and
yeah.
relationship drama and
It is a movie that a lot of people that like smart horror champion as they feel like it puts them on a little bit of an extra pedestal of it's not the Terrifier movies, it's Midsummer, you know, it's like you can have a tea party while watching this
I
and
think
enjoy it.
the original Wicker Man covered this sort of subject matter the best. But Midsummer's still definitely better than the remake of Wicker Man, Nicolas Cage.
That is absolutely correct. All right, let's move on to number 1. What is it that inspired you to rewatch Midsummer? We all want to know.
What inspired me to rewatch Midsummer? So, as you know, Tim, I love Nosferatu. Love it. It's been one of my favorite movies of the year. So, this made me think, what was this guy's first movie that I watched? Didn't really care for it the first time. And that's The Witch. I didn't really it just didn't really hit with me the first time I watched this. Maybe gosh, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago at this point. So, I decided to watch it again over the long weekend and I really loved it. I love Anya Taylor Joy and anything. She was great in this movie. Ralph Ineson, we've been championing him for the past few months on this channel. Really love the tenseness, and I just love how Robert Eggers always takes you back to that sort of old English feel and just absolutely knocks the world building out of the park every single time.
Yeah, whether it's to the studio's detriment or not, he plays it straight where it really requires a lot from the audience
Yes.
to engage with it, but once you do, it's like got its hooks in you. And
Yes. It's yeah, that's such a good way of putting it. You have to actively watch it as an audience member, but once you start doing that, you're fully immersed in the film for the rest of the movie.
it's like a book you buy where you're like, I bet I'll really like that book when I start reading it,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but it takes you actively picking it up,
Yeah.
getting through the first few pages and it getting its hooks in you to where then you don't want to put it down
Yeah.
and you're
Mhm.
trying to carve out time in your schedule for it. That's what The Witch is very much. It requires you to be completely committed to the viewing experience. I think it is a very good movie. Black Phillip obviously is a character that very popular and utilized a lot in pop culture as well. Why did this movie make you want to watch Midsummer? Rewatch Midsummer?
So, for the same reason that I watched The Witch was didn't really like this the first time. Maybe
Gotcha.
I'll like it more the second time around.
Got it.
That really did happen with The Witch, and so I thought I might really enjoy Midsummer this time around. And yeah, then after watching, I was like, this is fun.
I'm telling you, one movie you won't like is Beau is Afraid by Ari
You keep
Aster.
telling me that, and I'll get to it.
So all the Midsummer people are like, "Oh, Ari Aster's coming out with another movie. I'm gonna go see it." And Beau is Afraid is, whew, it's a it's an experience. It's a journey there. Something I can't even put into words what happens in that movie. You wouldn't be able to guess it unless you've read spoilers, but was not expecting that. Oh my gosh, I'm still scarred from having seen it.
Oh no.
What's the basic premise behind this?
Joaquin Phoenix is trying to live an independent lifestyle of his mother, away from his mother, and make it in the big city.
Oh.
And then the world turns upside down, and there's riots in the street, and there's fear spreading all over the country. And he decides, hey, I need to go ahead and trek back and have some solid ground in my life. And he goes on a mystical journey to get back home. And he is afraid during it, and he's even more afraid. Uh, if you know the big reveal from the third act of Beau is Afraid, I can't I can't tell young Tyler here what happens. It's very
I'm
intense.
very confused.
Yeah, it in the movie theater, I didn't think what I was seeing was actually happening. I
Oh
was like,
no.
"Oh man, did I sneak into Lance's medical cabinet or
Oh
something before coming
no.
in here?" I mean, it's really Beau is Afraid is a big swing, and it was a big miss. But I give them credit; they swung hard in the story for Beau
The
is Afraid.
the cover of it looks kinda scary.
Oh man, Beau is Afraid. I don't know what else to say. It was one of the strangest movie experiences I've ever had.
It's a horror comedy, apparently.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, so there are the 5 things that Tyler watched this weekend. Appreciate your reporting there, Tyler. I'm gonna have, many more things to report on. I'm gonna up my at-home viewing as well with a lot of these mystery boxes that we're gonna be doing, so make sure you are tuned in for that. That's gonna do it for the Meltdown today. If you haven't already, we'd love for you to head on over to our title sponsor. That's MyBookie at mybookie.ag. You can bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. No, it's not mybookie.eg. It's mybookie.ag. Some people get confused by that. Don't be one of them. MyBookie.ag, where you can cash out and win, or let it ride at MyBookie. I know for a fact at some point I'm going to mess it up and say MyBookie.eg now.
Yeah.
Make sure you use promo code next round. That's right there for you for that first time deposit bonus where you can bet and play on absolutely anything, anytime, anywhere. Only with MyBookie. They got that live casino there for you at mybookie.ag. It's going to do it here for the Meltdown. We've got a special guest joining us tomorrow. Josh Sisk joins us here in studio. Should be a very fun time. For EG, for Tyler, I'm Tim. We'll see you again tomorrow live, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on the Meltdown.